Sharper Point Commentary, presented by Schwartz Laser Eye Center.
When you hear this Valley woman describe to ABC 15 how close she came to having a head-on collision with a wrong-way driver on the Loop 101,
it was maybe 2 feet.
Your first thought might be, if that were me, I'd do anything to not be in that position ever again. Unfortunately, some of us have no choice but to be on the freeway in the late-night pre-dawn hours when a lot of impaired drivers are also using the freeway, leading to this really scary thought. Even though the average non-impaired driver may do anything to avoid encountering a wrong-way driver, many wrong-way drivers will keep doing the thing that leads to them driving the wrong way down the road, even if they realize they've done it before. I know this because I used to drive drunk all the time. Our TV partners at ABC 15 were provided with some pretty unbelievable dash cam video that captures the moment when a woman almost lost her life, barely missing a wrong-way driver headed toward her on the Loop 101. The Department of Public Safety says dispatchers got multiple calls about a wrong-way driver headed northbound in the southbound lanes of the 101 of traffic just after 1 a.m. Sunday. They say the driver was taken into custody near Grand Avenue, but we don't know at this moment who they are, and DPS hasn't said if they were impaired, but how in the world could they not be in some way, shape, or form? Erica Rankin told ABC 15 that she encountered the very same driver.
The front end of my car and the front end of his car couldn't have been more than this far apart when I reacted and cut my wheel to the right to get out of his way. I mean, it was maybe 2 feet.
Luckily for her, her husband was driving a couple miles ahead as they drove out of Scottsdale.
Thankfully, my husband screaming at me on the phone a couple miles ahead made me aware that something was coming. Drivers who don't have that person a couple miles ahead to see that, they don't have that luxury.
According to ABC 15, yesterday morning's wrong-way driver was the 12th media-reported freeway wrong-way incident in 2024. 4 of them have been fatal, by the way, but this is just a little sliver of the wrong-way drivers that have actually driven the wrong way on Arizona roads so far this year. Because most wrong-way crashes are caused by impaired drivers, the Arizona Department of Transportation says it's not surprising that more than half occur on weekends and 1/3 of wrong-way crashes happen between midnight and 3 a.m. But what may be surprising for the average normal person to hear is that a certain segment of wrong-way drivers can't stop themselves from doing that which causes them to operate a motor vehicle in the most dangerous ways possible. In fact, within this certain class of people may be those who have realized that they drove the wrong way down the freeway, and even though they didn't cause a crash, won't count themselves lucky and swear off ever drinking or drugging before getting behind the wheel again. They'll do it the very next day. Those people are the people like me, the alcoholics and the drug addicts, people who can't talk themselves out of drinking or drugging because they have the disease of addiction. ADOT says the majority of wrong-way drivers are drunk or otherwise impaired, and they say the number one way to stop wrong-way crashes is to stop impaired drivers from getting behind the wheel. But since we cannot do that ourselves, we need help to do it, and we need to keep getting help from fellow alcoholics and addicts to keep from going back to it. I was blessed enough to never get a DUI and never be involved in a crash while I was drinking and driving, and that is an absolute 100% miracle. And so I'm going to keep doing every day what I need to do to make sure that it never, ever happens and that I never go back to drinking.
Thanks for watching Sharper Point. Click to see more from Arizona's morning news and tap the button in the middle to subscribe.